Hello there. So, after about a decade or so of helping us help our favorite organizations, Amazon's decided that they can't be bothered anymore. And so they are shutting down the Amazon Smile program. And the cherry on the top of this Sunday is that they're going to do this in about a month. So I'm not even giving anybody time to come up with alternate plans. So let's talk about what the heck is happening, what Amazon Smile is in case you didn't know, and what the impact will be and what alternatives are out there for folks. So let's get this party started and make things better, shall we? Hello there, how are you? So, yeah, I'll just tell you up front, I'm gonna have to really fight to not get ranty about this one because I'm not happy. But for those of you who may not have known about it, so Amazon Smile, I always want to put an S on that. Amazon Smile was a really nice way for those of us who do use Amazon to feel better about using Amazon. And that was because we could choose a charity and then a certain small, but still valuable percentage of our purchases turned into a donation for that charity. It was something that as I have evolved, now understand, I have been an Amazon user from the very beginning when they were back in books just only. And as things have changed over time, I've had to reevaluate. We'll go with that word. And I've struggled with whether or not I should be using Amazon still. But this was one of the things that made me feel good about using Amazon because at least I was helping out a local charity that I, have a connection for. So that now that's going to be gone. And it was really simple because all you had to do was go in and you make the selection and you had to make sure that you were shopping from smile.amazon.com instead of just amazon.com, but you could do it from mobile. And with mobile, it just worked from your app. When you're doing it from your desktop browser, you needed to go ahead and do that extra smile dot before Amazon. But it made some money for them. Now, did it make them millions of dollars? No, but it did give us a way to target and help out local charity. Well, it didn't have to be local, but charities that meant something to us that were small. That tended to be who the target was for these things. And the organizations that got this money are not ones that get big checks from corporations on a regular basis. So I'm going to just point out here, I'm going to read from what they've actually been putting out there. Actually, I can bring it up. Give me 1 second and I will share with you so you don't feel like I'm having my way with the words. This is the email that went out. 1 sec, let me get us organized here. Oh, I've changed my screens around, haven't I? Okay, that's going to be a problem. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can do this quickly. Shoot. Oh, I really need to get this computer moved on. Okay. All right, I guess I'm going to have to read it to you or I can bring it over here. Let me try bringing it over here and see if that works. Sometimes you just got to be flexible. No, why is that? That should be working. Okay, well, we are going to have to take my word for it, and I'm going to have to just read it to you because evidently life is not... No, actually, I do need this. Okay, I'm sorry. You're going to stick with me for a second while I get this to work because I do want to show you exactly what it is I'm talking about. Let me just see if we get lucky by adding in an input here. Ace, entertain the people. No pressure. Oh, come on. Let's do... All right, this should do it, right? She says optimistically. Let me make sure. And... No, but we're closer. Okay, wait, I think then there's just one more move that we have to make. Oh, I guess we're going to be cutting this part off. That's what happens when you're trying to shift computers and you have to keep coming back to where you were. Okay. Oh, we got it. We got it. Okay. See, I have to have more faith. All right, here we go. Now you know what, we're just going to leave this in too. Thank you, Ace. I appreciate you entertaining the crowd for me. All right, so I'm just going to have to remember to make this switch manual. That's all. Okay. So this is the email that went out, okay? And, you know, the nice, warm and fuzzy, dear customer, like they couldn't even be bothered to identify this. They've sent me enough emails with my name in it. I know they could have. And we won't even talk about the bad layout, but they talk about, you know, how they had this thing. And then they say here, we're writing to let you know that we're going to wind it down by February 20th, 2023. Now, understand that's like no time because this happened. I got this email 2 days ago. Today is January 19th, 2023. So yeah, it's a month and a couple of days. Usually when you depreciate something, there's a longer period, but they don't care. That's the core of this for me. And then they talk, so, you know, they make the statement and then they spend the rest of the email trying to distract us, right? Talking about other things that they do, which have nothing at all. And I'm just going to scroll through this. You're welcome to pause it if you want to read it, if you didn't get a copy of it. But all of these things that they talk about after that one sentence, which is the only sentence that really matters, none of this has anything to do with the fact that they're taking away the ability for us to donate directly to a charity that's important to us, right? And some people are going to say, well, the community giving. No, this is them picking something that's going to get them press because of an area where, you know, they maybe have had some bad press lately. This is not us having any impact on this. This is going to be, you know, bigger names, that kind of thing. So that's where all this is coming from. This is what started this whole thing. This is not the show I was going to do tonight, but I'm pissed because it makes a big difference to these smaller organizations, everything they get, right? They are definitely shoestring operations. Every penny counts, and this matters, and this helped. And I know that because I've talked to them. I've talked to people that do this. But also for us, you know, selfishly, it made me feel better about using Amazon, and I definitely do not feel that right now. You know, I am on a regular basis coming away trying to figure out what I want to do with Amazon. But so let's address another thing that they mentioned in their press release and in that email where they talked about how they were doing it because it didn't make the impact that they wanted it to make. I mean, if I've ever heard of bullshit from a marketing department trying to spin something on the fly, boy, this is the masterclass in that. So let's talk about that, shall we? I'm going to now switch back again. No, don't frick, I just closed it. I'm so angry, like I'm not even like, okay, wait, I just have to build this out again because I literally just shut down the window I needed to show you because I'm that angry. I don't like when people do things that are snarky or not truthful. Let's go with that. Okay, so here we go. So as I said, they keep talking about how this hasn't had any impact. Well, these are their numbers, okay? This is their website, okay? These are the numbers. To me, this looks pretty impactful. This is the charity I've been donating for. This is a small group. Even if this number, like they don't give us context around this number, let's assume that this number is $10,000, $20,000 over the less than a decade. That's still a lot of money to them. That had a positive impact on them. And so all this BS about it had no impact, no. That's a lie. That's a flat out complete lie. And just to see, because they have another view of this. So if you come up here, they show it. And again, it's the same number. So it's not even like, you know, oh, I'm not working with the right numbers. These are the numbers they tell us. This is what they show us when they're, you know, letting us know the impact that we're having. So it is definitely, it's had an impact. And then if you click here, this used to take you to a page that explained the whole thing, but it doesn't really anymore. And what's really interesting here is they are making this decision without any planning, obviously, or forethought. There's nothing on here that even says that it's going away. So no, not buying it, not buying into it. They're doing this because, frankly, they want more money in their pocket. Because let's be real, okay? They're saying, you know, it didn't have the impact. That was the one. That's the one that's in the email, and that's the one that they've been feeding us pretty solidly. But they've been sliding in as the press has been going to them. And by the way, the press has been letting them off way too easy on this. I'm not happy. So the other storyline that they're weaving into this is that, well, they're having to do it because they have to make some cuts, right? You know, they're laying off tens of thousands of people, and they need to do this. Well, okay. That's also, I'm sorry, it's bullshit. That's what it is. Because the reason a company would like them would do something like this in the first place is that their accounting team can go and do a nice little write-off about all the work that went into doing this charity work, right? Which, okay, fine, yes. But the cuts thing doesn't work then because they were actually getting money back because they were doing this. So that's bull. Also, the infrastructure is in place, right? This is not something that needs to change a whole lot, right? It needs to be maintained, obviously, but this is not a high touch piece of functionality for them at all. And this whole thing about they want to better focus their philanthropic, I can never say that word, giving programs. But again, what they're talking about is their high level, hey, look at us, we're going to promote that we sent money to this organization or that organization. It is never, ever going to get down to the locals that we have been helping out through these donations. So yeah, I'm not happy. And everything that they're saying to me smells incredibly bad. I don't believe a word of it, but that is what it is. For those of you who are wandering across this and like, okay, I'm up on board for your ranting, but who are you? My name is Kathleen. I'm here as your tech coach. We're usually a little more tech focused here. We talk about day-to-day tech because tech is my day gig. It's also my hobby. So everybody in my world comes to me when they need help, when they have a question, when they're looking for advice. I know not everybody has somebody to reach out to. So we do this show every week. You are always welcome to come and hang out and chat or jump into the comments if you have questions, either on topic or off topic. As long as it's about tech, we're good. Or you can also reach out to me here if you have a topic you want me to cover. If you have a quick question, you can go ahead and send it here. Or if you want support. No, that's not the one I want. Oh, it's going to be that kind of night. Okay. We'll just be that way. We'll just go here. You can also go here and sign up if you want a consult. So you can go ahead and do that. So that's why. But frankly, that's also why I have a little bit more insight into the cost-cutting thing because I work in software development, right? I design software applications for human people. That's basically been my whole career. So I have been on every level of this kind of thing. So just for backstory, that's where we're at. But let's get back to this. Right? So that's what's going on. Now, there are, very lovely people out there who are trying to suggest that maybe, we can fight this, maybe we can stop it. Personally, while I love that idea, I don't think it's possible because they purposely left no time, right? But just to show you that I'm not the only one that's upset about this, let me show you just a sampling from Twitter. Now, okay, Twitter's a whole other conversation, and I agree about that, but it was just a quick place to get a sampling. I wanted to see if I was the only one that was being upset about this. So here we go. Lots of other people are like, yeah, no, not happy about it. And so this is someone who I guess works for a animal not-for-profit, and they're like, that money made a world of difference to us. That's what I'm talking about. This one down here, disappointed. It's another organization that benefited from it. So while Amazon feels they're in a lofty position where they can say, oh, that $100 didn't make any difference. Maybe not to you, Amazon, but it makes a big difference to these organizations. And how dare you be so dismissive of them about this? So yeah, now other people, here we go. They said this so much better than I did. Shutting down is extremely disappointing, not because of the fact that it raised for any individual charity. Most were modest, but I still say that has a major impact. But the fact that Amazon will now handpick charities that align with corporate interests, gatekeeping, right, exactly. It's also going to be a way that they can manipulate politicians because they'll donate to their charity. Like, there's all kinds of BS that's going to go on in the background here. So, I mean, there's more, obviously, but this is all the thing. This is what I like, Amazon just paid the CEO a ridiculous amount of money. There are other ways that they could be cutting that would not impact a charity in a negative way. So yeah, I totally agree with this. That might be my new favorite person. So again, when they say that this is, when they try to position this, let's put it that way, okay? When they try to position this as a good, kind, well thought out move on their part, nope, not buying it at all. So let's be, if you want to write to them about it, I would. I'm certainly going to fire off an email. I realize it's very much Don Quixote a move, but I'm going to do it anyway because if we don't complain, then they can get away by saying, everybody was happy about it, and we're not. That said, I don't believe that in 30 days they're going to change their minds. Maybe they'll push the date out a little bit, but again, I don't have high expectations. So let's be proactive about what we can do for the organizations we like, or if you are an organization that's being impacted by this, what can you do now? First of all, you are supposedly still going to get the donations that come in until February 20th. Make sure that happens. Track it. Make sure that you get paid anything that's outstanding and anything that happens in the next 30 days, because you're entitled to it. And that was the intention of the people who, like me, signed up for that. The other thing would be, now, first of all, for those of us who are donating, reach out to the charity. First of all, make sure they're aware of it, because it was one email that went out, and Amazon is really hoping that something comes up and it doesn't get a lot of press, because they want to just make this go away quietly. But reach out, make sure, because any organizations that we're donating to are generally short, staffed. So they may have missed this, right? So make sure that they're aware of it, because if they are planning things out and counting on whatever amount they were getting, they need to know that amount is not going to be there for them. So make sure that they know. You can also suggest to them, or help them set up, if you're a little more technical, something like Buy Me a Coffee. There's a bunch of different ones. I'm just saying Buy Me a Coffee as an example. And let me show you, if you're not familiar with that, what that looks like. So it's just basically a site that you can set up, and it's pretty simple to set up. So you just have to go in, you create your account. You do have to tie it to a bank of some sort. And then, you get a link that you can share with people, and then they can go and they can very easily go and make donations. And this is proof. Now, I don't get a ton from it, but it's out there, and I appreciate every time somebody goes in and they send me a couple of bucks, and it doesn't have to be a lot, right? Because all those little, like if 100 people send them $1, that's $100 more than they had when they started that day. So it's a nice little way to go. And then they give you all kinds of, okay, is this not going to, I had to load this may not work. I loaded an extension, and so it may not work. But here in this buttons and graphics and integrations, it gives you the tools so that you can add it to your website, you can add it to your social media and all that kind of stuff. And literally it makes it one click for people to go ahead and donate. And you can also build out other things. So in addition to donations, you can build out memberships. If that's something that works for your particular organization, you can do extras. You can also build out a wish list. So let's talk about wish lists now, because that's another good way for them to go. Now, obviously, there's the Amazon wish list. I know a lot of organizations use that, and I highly recommend, if that's something that would work for your organization, do that, and then make sure you get the word out about that in every email, every social post, all over your website. Get the word out there about that, so that people know to transition from what they were doing with Smile and into that. And that way you can be very specific, right? Rather than, people may be dropping off things that, to try to help, but it's not something that you need. So this way you can be very specific about products that you need that help you run your organization, and, cut costs that way. However, if you don't want to do Amazon, and that is completely understandable, you can use something like this functionality in, bring this back again, in Buy Me a Coffee, where you can go ahead and you can build out a wish list, and again, share that link with people. And then that way they can go ahead and buy you those things that you need. And that way that's a little less coming out of your pocket. So again, just something to think about. The other option, which fortunately my place does, so I'm going to probably be doing that, is that they have a donation system built right on their website. So I'm just going to every month go in there and do that. I have to go and check. I don't know if they've got it set up to be automated, but if they do, then I'm going to do that. But that's just another way. Either, if you are trying to support an organization, go to their website, check to see if they already have something there that you can go ahead and sign up. And don't feel, please don't feel bad if all you can do is $1, right? A month, or every 6 months, or whatever you can do, because it really does matter, right? All those little things do add up. So yeah, by all means, if you can afford to write them a check for $10,000, they'll be very happy and they'll send you a thank you card. But that doesn't mean that you should not donate because you don't feel like what you can donate is enough, right? And if you can't donate, that's okay too. This is not about making you feel bad. Amazon should feel bad. You should not feel bad. I'm just saying that if you have an organization that you've been using Smile to support, and you want to continue to support that organization, here are some things to think about. Okay? All right, everybody. Like I said, this is unfortunately, not good news, but at least we can be prepared for it, and we can try to continue to find ways to help the organizations that matter to us, because it is these small local organizations that have the most impact in our communities. So, yes, it's great that there are big, national and global organizations. I'm not taking anything away from them. But what I'm saying is those folks, they've got entire teams built for making sure they get funded. They get the attention of the big mega corporations. Okay. It's up to us to support these local organizations and make sure that they get what they need so they can continue to do their good work. Okay. I am here every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. I bring a different topic. You are always welcome to come and hang out and chat, or go ahead and comment on whatever platform you're watching. I do come back and respond to those. It may take me a little bit of time. There's a lot of you and only one of me, but I do the best I can. If you are a content creator and you need, some idea, we are all at those days, right? I need to post something. I don't know what to post. I put together a list of 130 content ideas for me. Found them helpful, share them with a friend. They found them helpful, so now I made it available to you. This is free. Go to yourtechcoach.com/content ideas. These are not tech-based ideas. These are generic ideas that work for anybody who's doing content. But what I do is I printed them out and I shuffle them up, close my eyes, put my finger on it, and that becomes my topic. And that just gets me out of that brain lock situation where it's like I can't post because I don't know what to post. Now I've got something to post and I can move on with my day. All right, everybody. I hope you're having a good start to your year. Go out, support your local organizations, and we will talk again next week. Bye.